The funeral was somber, a sea of black under a grey, drizzling sky. Everyone was weeping for Mr. Harrison, a kind old man who had passed away. But amidst the sniffles and sobs, a strange sound cut through the air. A chuckle. It was Daniel. His shoulders were shaking, not from grief, but from laughter. He couldn't stop. The harder he tried to suppress it, the more his laughter erupted, loud and jarring. People turned to stare, their sad eyes now filled with shock and anger. Daniel's wife, Sarah, tugged at his sleeve, her face pale with embarrassment. "Daniel, stop it. What are you doing?" She whispered fiercely, but Daniel couldn't explain it. He didn't feel any sadness. He looked at Mr. Harrison's photo, at the grieving family, and felt absolutely nothing. It was all just absurd to him. The solemn faces, the organized crying, it struck him as a ridiculous play, and he was the only one who saw the joke. The priest's eulogy was drowned out by Daniel's continued giggles. Finally, two of Mr. Harrison's sons, their faces tight with fury, escorted him away from the gravesite. "Get out," one of them hissed, pushing him towards the cemetery gate. Daniel just shrugged, a smirk still playing on his lips, and walked away, leaving a trail of outrage behind him. Later that evening, Sarah confronted him. "Why, Daniel, why would you do that? Mr. Harrison was our neighbor for years. He always smiled at you." Daniel just leaned back on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. "I don't know," he said, not looking up. "It was just funny." All those sad faces. Sarah stared at him, her expression a mix of disbelief and fear. "There's something wrong with you," she said, her voice trembling. "You feel nothing, do you?" Daniel didn't answer. He didn't have one. The next day, as Daniel was driving to work, he passed the cemetery. On a whim, he pulled over and decided to visit Mr. Harrison's grave. He wasn't sure why, maybe out of a strange curiosity. The grave was now a fresh mound of earth, covered in flowers. As he stood there, a cold silence enveloped the place. He tried to feel something: sadness, guilt, anything. But there was only an unnerving emptiness inside him. He even tried to force a laugh, but this time, it wouldn't come. Suddenly, a faint sound reached his ears. A soft, rhythmic tapping, thump, thump, thump. It was coming from beneath the ground. Daniel froze, his heart starting to pound. He leaned closer, pressing his ear to the damp earth. The sound was clearer now. It was coming from inside the coffin. Thump, thump, thump. Panic seized him. This wasn't possible. It had to be his imagination. He scrambled back, his eyes wide with terror, and ran to his car, speeding away from the cemetery as fast as he could. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. The tapping sound echoed in his head. He tossed and turned. The image of the grave burned into his mind. Finally, exhaustion took over, and he drifted into a nightmare. He was standing in the dark, in an enclosed space. It was cramped, and he could smell the damp earth around him. He realized with a jolt of horror that he was inside the coffin. He started screaming, pounding on the lid, but no sound came out. His fists hit the wood with a dull, rhythmic thud. Thump, thump, thump. Then, he heard a sound from outside. It wasn't the sound of digging or people trying to help. It was laughter. A loud, mocking laugh that echoed through the wood, chilling him to the bone. It was his own laugh. Daniel woke up with a scream, drenched in cold sweat. His heart was hammering against his ribs, and the phantom laughter still rang in his ears. For the first time in a very long time, Daniel felt something. It wasn't sadness, or guilt, or empathy. It was pure, unadulterated fear. The emptiness inside him was finally filled, but with a terror he couldn't have imagined. He sat up in bed, shaking, staring into the darkness of his room, and wondered if the joke was finally on him.